everyone, and welcome to a very beautiful and wonderful show. I recently hit 2000 elo, and I've been wondering, I've been really scared on how to continue my chess journey because reaching a 2000 elo, it has been really scary for me. So I've been like thinking, okay, after reaching 2000 low, I'm scared to furtherly play a game. So I've been like, how can I furtherly control? How can I furtherly go further in my chess journey? So lately, I start checking how to improve. Probably looking at my game tactically, start learning some basic tactics and some wide openings, some wide variations. So I started checking various game, and I stumped into this game played in 1983 by Garry Kasparov and Tigran. And I want to share with you because this is one of the very few line I've seen in my chess career. So I really enjoy the game, and I want you to check this game out. So let's dive into it. Gary Kasparov was playing with the white pieces in this game, playing against Tigran who was playing with the black pieces, and Gary starts the game with pawn d4. So he started with pawn d4, and his opponent play e6, maybe going for a French defense. For Gary Kasparov play c4, and his opponent differentiate with um, pawn. He played pawn f5. This is what we know as the Dutch defense. Yeah, this is the Dutch defense, the classical version of the Dutch. So we are going to check it out. Yeah, if you haven't seen this line before, it's probably you are probably like me because yeah, this is my first time of seeing something like the Dutch defense. Just moving the pawn in front of your king, and all of this has been played before. It's a basic opening. So let's go. Gary continued with g3, trying to fincado his bishop, knight hopping to f6, and bishop g2, already putting the bishop on this diagonal. I mean, if this guy is open up, the rook there might be cooked. So, Tigran play d5, knight hopping to f3, bishop e7 was played, castled, and castled by both players. So Gary continued with pawn e3, ready to also fincado his dark square bishop. He already fincado his light square bishop, so probably he want to fincado the other bishop. So uh, same way, same things. Tigran play 6-6 with queen c2, bishop d7, and all of this. Gary finally bring his bishop to play. He finally bring a bishop to b2, and Tigran starts finding a better square for his last square bishop. He bring his bishop back to e8, ready to put his bishop on this square. Maybe that it will be more active or useful. The bishop can go here, the bishop can go here, the bishop can even go here. Either way, and yeah, gaining more activity on that side of the board. So Gary hopping with the knight hopping to e5, and knight b to d7. Gary Kasparov doesn't like one thing in this game. He thought that probably uh, Garry Kasparov would trade his knight. The queen can take the knight can take, or even the bishop can capture. But Gary is here to fight. He's not really interested in trading pieces, and he go back. This is why I have so much respect all of this player, because so for me, like, yeah, you trade, you simplify to some extent where you can probably see what your pieces is doing or not. Garry Kasparov is not a player like that. He returned the knight back, and bishop h5. Bishop a5 already just putting pressure on this pawn, but right now the queen is currently defending, so there's no risks at all. Knight finally coming to c3. Bishop e6 by Tigran. Tigran, but bro, I can't really pronounce his name. So we have this kind of a great position. This is the opening. Basically, all the pieces are being developed up to like 12 move. No pieces has been traded. It's going to be, yeah. This is a massive thing for me because yeah, up to like 12 move, there is no pieces that have been traded at all, and this is incredible. Uh, F Garry Kasparov in this position just play f3, f3. Probably if he can execute this move, it will have been good. But right now, Tigran pawns and the knight are really high on the square. Tigran go back with the bishop, bishop back to g6, e3, and rook slide to c8, queen e2, rook e8 by Tigran, just putting the rook and the pieces on a useful square. So from here, this rook here just currently align with Kasparov's queen, and Kasparov doesn't like it. He just moved the queen away. Now he brings the rook again. Kasparov don't like anything. Yeah, I mean, this is what I love doing myself because I don't like when the rook is on the same file as my queen. I hate it. So I will just move it out of the way. So Kasparov just did that, but stuff is saying that this is not right. He should go back to the square. But yeah, you are not Kasparov, you are just Toughish. X6 was played by Tigran, rook A to C1, Queen E7. Right now, completely now connecting the rooks, connecting the two rooks. You play F4, rook F to E1. Tigran also don't like this kind of connection, so he moved his queen out of the way. You don't want to see the rooks in front of the queen, so all of this makes sense. So rook c to d1, and finally a trade occur on the c5. Pawn captures, and Tigran strike with the flag pawn on this side of the board. Very interesting. So Garry say, all right, no problem. You can take. If it takes, I can always take, but I don't need to be in a hurry to take. So, which is always saying to take is a mistake. Really, I don't know, but I think, well, maybe. So let's see. For me, if I'm playing this, maybe after this pawn push, I would love to just play something like this to open up an attack on this square. But the point is, if the pawn not move forward, there's no going back after he defend the knights. Probably maybe this or something. So bishop back was what was played by Kasparov, and bishop f7 saying, all right, he can take. I don't have to take. I mean, takes fine by me. And knight up into the square. Finally, a trade occur. Pawn captures, and Tigran strike with pawn b5. Pawn captures, and the knight now hop into the square. Knight up into the square, there's so many defender. This pawn supports the knight supports the pawn, bishop support, and yeah, all of this support. So I mean, he has fewer attacker, but it doesn't matter. So now they all come to the square. I don't know why uh Tigran sacrificed the pawn. All right, probably the reason why he sacked the pawn is that if it takes, oh wait, what happened if he takes? Let's say, what happened if it takes? If takes occur, or it's a blunder because this captures happens, and this all right, bro, did you see that? Did you see that? It's going to be a pin on the coin, and even if he plays this, what is the follow-up? He just grab the free knight. He just grabs. So that is why Tigrin basically sacrificed the pawn. This pawn cannot be taken. The reason is clear now because if the knight, if this is captures, knight captures here, pawn captures, and bishop captures, just pinning the queen to the king. And after the bishop come here, block. This is a free knight, and Tigran is just completely winning. So Kasparov wouldn't fall for all of those tricks. Probably I will fall like 1,000 times to these simple tricks because it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to see. So Garry in this position just bring the rook back to before, and queen here, queen on e7. Now Garry play bishop h3. Sorry about that. Bishop h3 was played by Garry, and queen back to d6. Now he finally trade here because all of those tactics doesn't work. So queen just come here now, putting pressure on this knight and also putting pressure on this pawn. Garry move his knight to the square, just completely giving away the knight. So what is the problem with capturing this knight? Let's see if you accept the knight, which is the best way, is the best way, but Tigran did not take it. Instead, Tigran capture the pawn. Tigran captured the pawn on a2, and uh, knight hop into captures, knight captures back, and finally he defend uh the pawn with he defend the knight with the pawn, but not really defending the pawn because he can really be captured. But and Tigran just go for it. He captures with the queen, not even the pawn, because if he capture with the pawn, this pawn is going to fall. So he captures with the queen, and rook come to the square, just pinning the queen to the bishop. So Tigran have an idea. He play bishop c5, now pinning Kasparov's queen to the king. So rook captures queen and bishop captures here, king captures, and finally he captures. All right, this is open up, so Kasparov go for it. He captures the pawn, now hitting the knight, hitting the rocks as well, and there's a fork even coming. So Tigran in this position, all right, no problem, you can have my rook. So Tigran play knight back, knight back to b6, completely giving away the rocks. And after Kasparov takes, knight takes. More importantly, you can't take through the rook, because if you take through the rook, knight here check, hit the king, and you're just worse. So Tigran takes with the knight, now controlling the square. There's no checks, and yeah, the materials is equal now. Bishop, rooks, and knights. Bishop, rooks, and knights. Plus, maybe this pawn, maybe this pawn is going to be okay. Yeah, it's an asset or not, because it looked like a pass pawn. He has nothing. So let's see how these two people play this endgame. So in this position, Kasparov puts the rook on this side, just saying, all right, I still have to control the king. The king has a little square, and Tigran play pawn h6, just clearing the path for the king in other way to go. And Starfish says, okay, probably, yeah, Starfish always like a long move like this, just not allowing Kasparov to push pawns. So Tigran play a simple move. I mean, connecting the pawns is what you want to do. Rook here. Now, rook e6, kicking away the knight. Knight go back, putting pressure on the rocks. Rook here now, putting pressure on this bishop. Now, bishop comes to this square, and knight up in. So he's saying if he takes the bishop, the rook can always take back, and probably we're going to play the endgame like this. So, rook here check, and king slide to h7. We have pawn push. Rook here now, I'm saying, all right, if he takes my knight, I can take your knight. And Kasparov just, if Kasparov in this position, instead of taking like that, simplifying to an endgame, Kasparov just defend the knight, and now the knight hopping, giving a check. The king coming, the king is getting closer to the king, and here the only thing that happened was pawn check. Yeah, pawn check. If the king go forward, all right, it's close to winning to for Tigran. Simple move is rook here. It's ready to play um rook check or bishop check, and it's going to be a mate. Even if Kasparov pin this guy to the square, this square available, and there's no way to actually stop. There's no way to actually stop what is coming. Okay, computer is so even suggesting you should play this sacrificing the knight, because yeah, it's just going to be captured, so the king cannot capture. So there's no way to stop what is coming if the king has gone up. But Kasparov saw all of that. Instead of moving the king up, he just bring the king back, and Kasparov is close to winning in this game. So Tigran play rook here. Now saying probably a lot of things could happen in this position. Kasparov play rook here, putting pinning the bishop to the rook, and king walk to g6 and knight up in, already putting pressure on this one. He play he goes back with he goes back with the rook, because if he doesn't go back, mate is being threatened in a lot of ways. Maybe some rook here actions. This might lead to maybe, because the knight is already controls in I mean the king is already controlled, so rook have to go back, which is the only way to save the game. And now he plays this, captures, and he goes back with the king. And after knight check, the king go back, bishop here, and white is completely winning. Bishop cut off the king. What is coming next is simple. Knight checks, or yeah, after check or check, the king have to move away from the bishop, and the bishop is going to be taken. So Tigran in this position resign the game. Okay, I can even show it. What do you play when you are playing with black? Just find a move. Find a move for black in this position. Knight check or knight check is coming. The only square available for the king. Where do you go to? I mean, if you move the bishop, it's just mate from the other side of the board, just like that. And if you don't move the bishop, probably what do you play? You try to trade uh you try to trade knight because you want to get here. I mean, checks, or let's say even check. Only move available. Okay, right. This is not the right check. Okay, Stuffies is just saying he can also play this. Stuffy says the best move is this, and now we have forced the takes. Check, king takes. We just collect the bishop. It's a win for Kasparov. So in that position, Tigran resigned, and that is how the defeated one of the former world champion 18 and 1980, 1983 was when this game was played. So that's the game I want to share. I hope you enjoy this, and see you again